Shout out to LTTV.
Shout out to LTTV.
Salute to LTTV in the building, man.
Shout out to brother LTTV.
Shout out to LTTV.
Nobody's LT, and I'm certainly not implying that.
Shout out to LTTV.
Shout out to LTTV.
Salute to LTTV in the building, man.
Shout out to brother LTTV.
Shout out to LTTV.
Nobody's LT, and I'm certainly not implying that.
LT cooking your ass.
LTTV, whatever his channel name is called. I'm sorry for being the dusty. How about that?
If y'all want to keep up with the news and this shit be going on, subscribe to LTTV. That nigga know everything about everything. I ain't gonna lie.
The way things are going, you're going to make a millionaire out of a woman who racially abused a child.
Did you call the child word? It is my own business. You call him a
What you're advocating for, it seems, is that for the rest of Shiloh's life, she should be canceled and silenced rather than try to bring some redemption into the situation.
If you call black people the N-word and racially abuse them, unfortunately, yes, it has consequences.
Everyone's flipping out over Shiloh Hendricks is saying the N-word. Nobody flipped out like this when the United States was getting destroyed in 2020 because of black protests destroying every liberal city in America. So I don't want to hear it about, oh, she made $100,000 because she said the N-word. Who cares?
I want to live in a country where people are allowed to say what they want unashamedly, and you will
Well, go
not
on then,
have
say it. Say the N-word, go on.
No.
No.
I don't want you to invite this woman to say a racially harmful term in front of me. So if she says it, I'm the victim of it.
Two recent stories in the US have laid bare the shocking levels of racial division in American society, amplified by extreme and viral takes on social media. 17-year-old Carmelo Anthony
Yeah, LTTV, Blunt Talk with LT, back at it with another video. Let's get right into this one, chat.
is a black teenager charged with stabbing a white boy to death at a school track meeting in April. More than $600,000 in donations have poured in, not for the victim's grieving family, but for his alleged killer. Last week, Shiloh Hendricks went viral after a video showed the young mother racially abusing a 5-year-old, allegedly for stealing from her young child.
Call him a child? Did you call the child word? It is my own business. You call him a Okay, why don't you have the boss to say it right now again? Huh? All right, that's what you say. Nobody dig into your shit.
A little fucking kid just did, you dumbass.
That little kid, you call him the little child?
What did he act like one? He's gonna
Are you about to hit him? You chase him here?
He took my son's stuff.
So that gives you the right to call the child 5-year-old.
Well, as you can see, Hendricks doesn't deny using the slur. In fact, she repeats it many times. That's all the stuff that's bleeped out.
That's the worst part about this whole thing, because Myron and this other woman, Lilly, crash out on this panel trying to justify her use of it, chest out. The Give, Send, Go representative speaks on it, and he's talking about redemption and should she suffer for the rest of her life. She's continuously chest out saying the N-word. She doesn't give a fuck. There's no remorse. There's no redemption. There's nothing. She just wants to collect money and be an agitator. Oh, I struggle to say that. Damn.
When a bystander in the park follows her with his smartphone. Hendricks set up a fundraiser on the same website as Carmelo Anthony's supporters, on which she wrote, "I called the kid out for what he was."
I don't even know why they're trying to be very unaccountable for this incident and trying to compare it to the Carmelo Anthony incident when it's not a direct parallel.
Incredibly, that campaign has now raised more money than the first one, surpassing $655,000 at the time of taping the show. Well, the boss of the website, Give, Send, Go, is accused of facilitating brazen racism on a platform whose motto is "Money is temporary, Jesus is eternal. He will join me later." Liberals say this is exactly what they've been warning about, that the post-BLM backlash and the crushing of DEI has provided a fig leaf for outright bigotry. Conservatives were similarly outraged by the support for Carmelo Anthony, an alleged murderer who's been glorified by some as a victim of a racist system. We're here to debate all this is the host of the Fresh and Fit podcast, Myron Gaines, the host of Night School on YouTube, Mark Lamont Hill.
Now, Mark Lamont Hill had some reputational damage from some of the things he said in politics, as when he tried to basically say a man could be a woman, and we're like, bro, what are you talking about, bro? A man could be a woman? He was doing that mental gymnastics, trying to pander too much, being politically correct. But this interview and some of the things that he's done on the Joe Budden podcast has resurrected this guy's career.
Lilly Gaddis, a social media commentator whose video...
Lilly Gaddis. This woman went out sad with her racist rant. She had Tommy Sotomayor cooning it out, defending her. Simping. Pathetic.
Your defense of the N-word mother has so far been viewed millions of times on X. And the New York Post columnist and author Ricky Schlott. Well, welcome to all of you. Ricky, look, my take on this is a stain on all their houses, right? I just don't know what is happening to society when you have such vast sums of money being raised for what seems to me to be deliberate, racially charged, motivational reasons.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're fighting ugly with ugly right now, and I think this level of racial tribalism and hostility is just simply not sustainable in such a diverse democracy like America. I think it's, one is really a reaction to the other. I think both campaigns are really hideous, and I think we're showing our ugliest colors. I mean, in the scheme of things...
For them to say one is a reaction to the other, how? How? A woman chest out calls a 5-year-old autistic child the N-word and then berates the grown-ass man calling him the N-word as well. Chest out saying she's not going to stop. She does what she wants. She didn't retract. She didn't have an apology, a video, nothing like that. She's doubling down on her statements. And y'all are representing her statements as, yeah, she should be able to do that. Removing the context that she berated a 5-year-old child. Just because you want to campaign for white folks to be able to use the N-word so badly, you're forgetting that she spoke that way to a 5-year-old autistic child. It's pathetic.
These are small sums relative to the population of America, but you do see, I think, a really tremendous explosion of ugliness and racial hostility that I think that we should all be ashamed and embarrassed of.
Yeah, I mean, you described it, I think, in one of your posts as genuinely, is this a psyop? This would be the best $1 million invested by a foreign adversary to start a race war in America. And I knew exactly what you're getting at, because many of the comments, I think the comments have now been suspended actually on both of these funding pages, because people were quite obviously deliberately misusing them to post race baiting commentary.
Absolutely. I mean, if you go through some of the comments on either of them, you have White Lives Matter on one side and like suggestions that the teenage boy who was stabbed was somehow like a manifestation of white supremacy, and it seems to be just a...
When you listen to everybody defending Austin Metcalf, all of them have this entitled commentary where they just expect this white child to be able to just put his hands on another young black boy with impunity, just act with impunity. It's like, why do you think that they're just skipping the fact and they're justifying the fact that he put his hands on him? And I'm like, what part of the game is that? You got to look at both sides of it. You got to look at what preceded the stabbing.
Fight at a track meet that has nothing to do with racial hostility in the first place, and the poor father of this young man who.
That for me. I was always like, y'all. This is why America is a filthy racist country, because this should have been an isolated incident where they're speaking about two young men that had an incident that ended up being violent, but it turned into this massive race war because a black kid ended up killing the white kid. All the white people ignoring the fact that the white kid put his hands on him in an act of violence, which is the reason why there's a campaign for self-defense for Carmelo Anthony. But this is the thing. When they're acting like this is a massive injustice, he is being charged for murder or manslaughter, if I'm not correct. Is second degree murder, or they don't even have second degree. It's just straight murder. He's getting charged for murder. So it's not like he's off the hook. These people are trying to pay for his defense. Justice is being served. I don't even understand this outrage.
Died too said, please don't make this into a racial issue. And yet on his own Give Send Go campaign, there are comments after comment saying this is White Lives Matter, we're avenging against Carmelo Anthony's family. I mean, on all ends, this is ugly. I think that it's really. And
then when they try to mimic and they say it's White Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter was police officer to serve and protect the community, killing unarmed black men repeatedly, constantly on video. That's what started the Black Lives Matter movement, because there was no justice when police officers were doing wrongful things to black citizens. It wasn't like, oh, these police officers were all getting charged, they were all going to jail, there was no pushback. No, time and time again, these police officers were suspended, getting paid leave, vacations type shit. That's where the outrage came from. The disingenuous comparisons, but she holds it down later in this interview, so we'll give her a pass for this conversation.
Co-opting the charity and giving community. I mean, I feel bad for the fundraising platforms, because I don't think this was the intention originally. But unfortunately, I think that people are really starting to take over good intents and the charity industrial complex to make it into a victim industrial complex, and it's really sad to see.
Well, we're going to have one of the founders of the Give, Send, Go site a little later in the program. But Mark Lamont Hill, you were shaking your head there. I mean, what's your take on this?
There are a couple of things that were said that I think are really interesting and important. One, there is an
Now, above Ruby's TV, that's absolute cap. That is absolute cap. You guys fight against racism, but don't ever try to throw us under the bus like we don't. The fuck are you talking about? There's a reason why there isn't an immense proliferation of overt racism in Canada, because we don't play that shit. And it's not even just the blacks in Canada, it's everybody in Canada. We're more against that shit. It's way more covert with the racism. They don't ever think they can chest out do the shit that they do in America. Y'all fight back against it, but I'm saying the racism's far worse. To say we don't fight against it is ridiculous.
Outside audience of people who are watching all of this, and
like at that point, what the fuck am I doing this show for? What am I here for? Like, make it make sense, man.
Opportunistically using it for their own agendas and projects. You know, I have an investment in believing X, so I'm going to jump in the comments of this GoFundMe, etc. I have an investment in Y, I'm going to do the same thing. But what I don't want to do is compare these two things as if they're opposite sides of the same coin. For me, the intention of the campaign matters. In the case of...
That's facts. That's facts. They're not two sides of the same coin, and it's good that he points that out.
Of this woman who is using the N-word, the woman isn't disputing using the N-word. The woman isn't disputing being racist.
That's the thing.
And the comments that are being left on the site before they were suspended, and the attitudes behind it weren't saying she's being railroaded, she's being misrepresented. They were simply saying, we support racism. And I think that's disgusting. No matter
facts.
On the other hand, the people who are fundraising for Carmelo Anthony.
And you see Myron's pathetic coon asses on the panel waiting to represent the wrong point, just dying for some white acknowledgement. Just dying to be one of the whites. Like, bro, you're not that. You will never be. Stop it, bro.
The argument here isn't, yeah, we did something and we don't care like the other woman. The argument is we're being misrepresented here. We're being railroaded. This was a self-defense claim. This is not an act of violence. This isn't first-degree murder. I'm saying what they're saying. This isn't my argument. They're saying this is a first-degree murder claim that is wrong. This is actually self-defense, and we need the money to make sure that we get a fair trial. I think, and so whether you agree with his argument or not.
The facts are Austin Metcalf put his hands on Carmelo Anthony, and Carmelo Anthony said, do it, and he did it, and Carmelo Anthony proceeded to stab him in the chest. So it wasn't an unprovoked, like he just walked up to a kid and stabbed him in a chest murder. It was, there is a basis for self-defense. Now, did he go too far, stabbing and killing the kid? That's why he's facing a murder charge. So
I think raising money for a fair trial is different than raising money for a racist.
I mean, I think the common theme between the two, and this is not to pass any view about it at this stage, although I have strong views about it, I guess the common theme is that both of them say that as a result of all the publicity, they've been doxxed and had all their personal details put everywhere on social media, which is, of course, the modern scourge which gets involved. And that as a result, they've had death threats and they have security issues and they have to move home and so on. You know, I understand that part of the argument. You know, when you're at the center of a firestorm in America and you're not used to public attention, then the levels of intimidation, threats and so on that can come your way can be extremely intimidating, if not outright dangerous. So it's different really to taking a view about either of the cases to simply say that the commonality is that they both, I think, have said in defending the amounts that have been raised is, well, we have to defend ourselves. Either, as you're putting it, through the courts, but also in his case, the alleged killer, that he has also, I think, had direct threats against him. And in the case of the mother using the M-word in that despicable manner, she has said she's had a lot of threats too.
My quick response to that would just be, let's assume everybody's telling the truth. Let's assume she's telling the truth, and let's assume he's telling the truth. If he's telling the truth and he was doing self-defense and he's getting harassed and doxxed, and of course we already know lies have been told about his GoFundMe campaign saying they were spending it on mansions and cars, all the kind of racist tropes. If that's true, he's being mistreated, and I think that's a sort of very easy case to make. When it comes to her, however, let's assume she's also telling the truth.
Is that his audio? What the hell is going on?
She used the word. She thinks the kid was acting like one. She feels like she has the right to use that word against that small baby because of whatever age-appropriate thing the kid did. If she's telling the truth and she's getting doxxed and harassed, I don't know if I want to reward her behavior with $500,000. I don't think she should be doxxed. I don't think she should be harassed. I think she has been mistreated to the extent that no one should be. You have a right to be racist. You have a right to free speech in this country. But I'm not donating money for it, and I feel a lot worse about her GoFundMe.
Do you see the fundamental difference between Canada and America? When people say like freedom of speech, you have the right to be racist. Canada, we don't got no freedom of speech. We got freedom of expression. You have no right to be racist, homophobic, all these. You don't have the right to chest out be these things without repercussions.
And the one for the person who's been railroaded.
Yeah. Well, Lilly Gaddis, you posted a defense of Shiloh on X. It's been viewed 2.5 million times, in which it was entitled, "White People Are Finally Fighting Back. Stand with Shiloh Hendricks." What did you mean by that?
Here's the thing. White people have been under attack for years. It's been systematic racism. As much as black people and people of color want to talk about systematic racism in the United States.
Oh!
Ma'am, what the fuck are you talking about? You're the majority of the country. Systematic racism when you're the majority? Huh?
It's quite the opposite. They get preferential treatment when it comes to getting a job, when it comes to getting into colleges.
Black people get preferential treatment when it comes to getting a job and getting into colleges. Ma'am, cite your sources. What the fuck are you talking about?
White people, on the other hand, have been getting attacked relentlessly. Look at 2016 and BLM and all the riots. We just had to sit back and watch people burn down our cities and do nothing about it.
You mean the white protesters that joined in and hijacked a lot of the riots? What are we talking about out here? They love to just think time will pass and people could just revise history and folks will forget. Like, come on, man.
So the way to fight back against essentially this anti-white hatred that's been systemically, you know...
Like, to act like the Black Lives Matter movement was not hijacked, like they didn't have a fuck ton of plants in their fucking shit up. Are y'all forgetting? When I used to do Blunt Talk with LT, I covered a whole fuck ton of this shit. I could just pull up my files, motherfucker. Like, come on, man.
Ingrained in U.S. society is with white unity. We don't see white unity on our side.
White unity for the majority of the country. Yeah, good job, ma'am.
Hang on, okay, but hang on. Sorry, just to be clear, this has got nothing to do with anything you've just said. This is a disgusting racist woman who repeatedly spews the N-word, first at a young child, and then at the person taking the video of her, does it with complete impunity.
The fact that they keep bringing up BLM protests, she brought up a BLM protest from 2016. Myron brings up some protests from 2020. What the hell does that have to do with this woman berating a young five-year-old autistic child with the N-word? Why are y'all bringing that up as a convenient deflection? Why are we even litigating this and even getting into the conversation about this? What is the relevancy of this? Oh, it's your justification to feel like you're mad and have some sort of hatred towards black folks? Is that what that is? Y'all sound ridiculous.
Does it numerous times. We are talking about a bona fide, unquestionable racist. So I don't understand why what you've just said to me bears any relation to white unity or anything that you've just said. She's just a racist.
Yeah.
End, isn't she? You wouldn't dispute that.
Well, it's not about her. It's not about her. It's about...
Well, it's about...
It's not about her, so you're donating to her it's now up to $740,000. But it's not about her, but she's getting enriched for her racism. Make it make sense.
Coming together and supporting another white person, and it doesn't matter.
But whites coming together and supporting another white person regardless of the filthy act that they've done.
Do you want to support a white racist?
Because I want to support free speech, and you cannot have free speech in a country if you
that's fine. You can support free speech, but you also have to be accountable for what you say. She is... I mean, would you use the N-word out of interest?
Yes.
You would?
Mm-hmm. I do, quite frequently.
You use the N-word quite frequently. Well, why? Other than the fact you're a despicable racist. Are you?
Some would say I am. I guess according to the ADL, I'm a...
You're done.
White supremacist. I'm a neo-Nazi.
Yeah, well, if you use the N-word repeatedly, you are a racist, then, are you? Are you?
Sure, I'll embrace that. If that means forwarding, helping white people achieve freedom of speech, real freedom of speech, which, by the way, Shiloh Hendricks is being attacked on all fronts.
Now, she's on national television, chest out saying that she is a racist, and we're supposed to take your commentary seriously, ma'am? We're supposed to consider your freedom of speech plight? Y'all talk about virtue signalers, but y'all just want to be vice signalers? Y'all just want to... I don't understand y'all.
They're trying to bring legal charges against her. They're trying to get her children taken away. So you were saying Carmelo Anthony, it doesn't matter. That's a different
Sorry, but just to be
thing.
clear, you just said to me you use the N-word regularly. In what context? Do you use it with black people?
Yes, if it's appropriate.
When would it be appropriate to use the N-word?
You use it towards black people when it's appropriate.
Stop that. You're white.
Regularly. In what context? Do you use it with black people?
Yes, if it's appropriate.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
You definitely don't say it in the presence of black people, ma'am.
It's a total fabrication.
Who you come on, man. Who you trying to convince? And black people are just taking it on the chin, just accepting your racism. Like, stop the guy. Like, come on, man.
When would it be appropriate to use the N-word? When would it be appropriate?
That part.
Anytime I feel like it.
So you're an unashamed racist.
Correct.
Now, you hear that? We have her admitting to being an unashamed racist. And then you have Myron coming out. Watch what you hear Myron doing, caping for this broad. And then she's trying to act like the victim later when she says it herself. She confesses to it. One more time, folks.
When would it be appropriate?
Anytime I feel like it.
So you're an unashamed racist?
Correct.
Well, do you understand that makes you a despicable human being?
I guess so. I don't really care. I mean, why?
So you don't care that you're an unashamed racist and a despicable human being. So once again, why should we consider idiots like you? Why do we platform idiots like you? Why do we consider your perspective? You're just a dumb racist broad. Why do we give you any respect? Why do we, like, come on, man, this is pathetic.
Why are we not talking about Shiloh Hendricks? Why are we talking about...
Well, actually, I think you've moved it on in this debate very quickly to your own racism, which explains why you've supported her in public and why you've got all these views. You see no problem with a woman shrieking the N-word repeatedly because you yourself are a despicable racist.
Facts.
And you've just proudly admitted that with a smug grin on your face, which is pretty horrifying, actually, for most people to have to watch. And shame on you. You're entitled to do it, and I'm entitled to call you despicable.
Well, shame on white people for allowing themselves to be systematically discriminated against in the United States. This is our country. This is a...
Stop that. You're white.
Learn the rules.
This is no part of this is your country, ma'am. No, when white supremacists and white nationalists say this dumb shit, it's like, are you indigenous to this land, fool? What part of this is your country? The fuck out of here.
A country that should be...
What do you mean your country?
Because I'm white and my...
What, there are no black people in American history? Is that what you're saying? That they've all just landed in America, invading your white country? Is that your position?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, they were brought here technically.
My God, do you understand how dumb you sound?
This is stupid. This is stupid and racist, and at some point we have to ask ourselves, do we want to reward this kind of disgusting behavior by platforming it?
This is the thing. Folks are going to platform this type of idiocy so they have conversations like this go viral. But we all know what this is. Like, come on, man. This is a dumb, like, ugh.
My God, do you understand how dumb you sound?
This is stupid. This is stupid and racist, and at some point we have to ask ourselves, do we want to reward this kind of disgusting behavior by platforming it?
I don't disagree, Mark. Listen, I didn't know she was going to say that. I don't disagree with you.
No. Yeah. I'm with you. I don't think you knew ahead of time. I'm saying at this moment, someone who's saying it technically...
Now, I don't blame Piers either because Myron waves a swastika flag. A flag with the swastika on it. I believe that's what it is. It's blurred out, so I can't tell, but I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it is. It's filthy work. It's like, why would you do that?
Black people brought up. No, technically... Africans were stolen.
Oh no, it was a Nazi flag.
Enslaved, and they built this country. And the idea that you can justify calling a baby the N-word by saying that white people are losing the country is absurd. It's morally bankrupt, and it's honestly besides the point. I mean, all these are just distractions from the fact that she wants to justify dehumanizing and even animalizing a small black child. It's disgusting.
What is it?
Yeah, I never said that.
No, but you may as well have done because you're just an unashamed proud.
She lacks comprehension to the things that she said herself. How do you mean you never said that? If you didn't explicitly said that, it was very implied in your comments and your stance doubling down, fool. Do you not this is why you can't platform idiots like this. They can't even keep up with the pace of the conversation that they're in.
Implication of
proud racist. Let me bring in Myron Gaines because you've been smirking and laughing. What's funny about any of this?
Well, I mean, I find it interesting that you guys want to virtue signal and, wag the finger and say she's a racist and everything else like that.
Is this guy short bus? Are you part of the crew, buddy? Are you part of the short bus crew? Like virtue signal and point the finger? What are you talking about? She chest out said it, buddy.
And laughing. What's funny about any of this?
Well, I mean, I find it interesting that you guys want to virtue signal and, wag the finger and say she's a racist and everything else like that.
Virtue signal and wag the finger and say she's a racist.
All due respect, shut the hell up. I want to hear that.
Has he been keeping up with the conversation? She admitted to it, sir. She admitted that she's a racist. So we're supposed to just do the mental gymnastics and act like she isn't? The fuck are we doing out here?
So she admitted she's a racist.
Let me
I'm not
finish my
wagging a
point.
finger at anybody.
She
I don't need to
self-identified as a racist. She
But
said, "I
Myron,
am a
with
racist."
respect, Myron, I don't need to
Because-
wag a finger when somebody says, yeah, I'm racist. I use the N-word against black people. I don't care. That's a racist. I'm not wagging.
Do you understand that Myron will wag his finger and debate a woman down to death if she says she's a feminist? So this nigga will cry and cry and cry on his platform for hours about feminism. Wag the finger and virtue signal about feminism, but he doesn't see his own emotional reaction to these things and how he gets in his bitch fits. But he wants to try to act like folks are virtue signaling for something that, like, come on, man, it's pathetic.
Any finger. I'm not accusing anybody. She is admitting it proudly. Even
Here's the
you
thing.
can't defend that, surely.
Everybody is racist to some degree. The reality is, it depends on. A lot of people want to be politically correct. A lot of people want to sit there and say, I'm not racist at all. We all have biases. We all have stereotypes. We all make jokes. We all.
Okay, having biases is natural to your experience in life. Making jokes is innocent. Who the fuck gives a fuck about jokes? You're being disingenuous right now. Stereotyping and being racist is completely different.
Are racist
than being just have natural biases or whatever.
To some degree. Now, how racist you are is a whole other situation, but everyone is racist. That's number one. Next thing I want to say. See, I think this Shiloh Hendricks and Metcalf situation is a microcosm of a much bigger problem. And that bigger problem is what I call systemic organized. And what I mean by this is, for decades, we've had black people literally running around with black supremacy, committing crimes, not getting accountability for their actions. And
black folks have not had accountability for their actions. They've been running around practicing black supremacy in America. What the fuck is this motherfucker talking about? See, this is when I see niggas like this, I understand. I really, truly, and deeply understand the use of the word tether. Because this idiot gets up on this platform and says he's the definition of African American because he's a Sudanese American. And it's like, nah, nigga, you tried it. You tried it. This is why folks have the name change. This is why they're running around saying FBA right now, because niggas like him try to hijack the identity and be like, yeah, I'm African American. No, you're a Sudanese immigrant in America. You are not African American. You are not from the same slave lineage that was brought over to America 400 years ago. Like, you full of shit, my nigga. Like, you really tried it. And he tries to represent blacks as this motherfucking coon crashing out on this platform.
And then they blame the system for it. For example, George Floyd, criminal. Ferguson, criminals. Freddie Gay.
George Floyd, knee on the neck, killed by a police officer, sir. Criminal history, great. He was arrested before. He did his time for his actions. What the hell does that have to do with the cops' actions?
Hey, Gray, criminal. A lot of these people are criminals, and what ends up happening is they challenge the police officer, they get into a physical altercation, things go left, they die, something happens, use of force is utilized, and then they want to cry about the result, when in reality, it's not the police killing black people, it's black people killing black people. And if you want to talk about black on white violence, black people kill white people 2 times as much. And on top of that, most of the shootings in America, a lot of the times, are white cops killing other unarmed white men. So this whole systemic racism or police brutality or, oh, it's all so messed up. The reality is this. Black people have been able to get away with a ridiculous amount of privilege in America for a very long time. They're able to be racist.
Now, if I had to hit that wrong buzzer every time he said something wrong, this would be an abuse of the buzzer and we would not be able to get through this entire diatribe. But y'all understand that this nigga, like, what is this, bruh? Like, I would literally have to combat every 2 words in the sentence how much things you're saying that's factually incorrect.
With impunity, they're able to call white people crackers without being challenged back. And quite frankly, white America's had enough of it, and the chickens have come to roost. Now, look, am I saying that's awesome? Am I saying that's great? No, but for literally the better part of almost 2 decades since the Obama era, we've had to have BLM and liberalism shoved down our throats, and quite frankly, we're all tired of it.
Right, but just to be clear, you would have no problem with one member of this panel openly saying she uses the N-word at black people with impunity. And
do you understand, Chad? I need y'all to put it into perspective. Myron cried. Not like, he didn't actually cry. He was bitching and complaining about Asian doll calling him mean. Mean. She said, oh, you're mean, and this nigga got in his feelings. Got all emotional. Over Asian doll calling him mean on the show. And then it led to them getting into a further argument, which led to her getting kicked out of the show on Fresh and Fit. So a grown-ass man can't tolerate a grown woman calling him mean, but you're going to jump in the defense of a racist white woman, chest out, calling a 5-year-old child, a 5-year-old autistic child, the N-word. Why in the fuck would we take folks like him seriously when he has gripes or whenever the hell he has commentary on anything? These type of comments and this type of defense, crashing out and dying on this hill, will eliminate anything you say going further. We can't take folks like this seriously. You can't be this stupid.
Proud of being a racist. You have no problem with that.
My worldview on the protection of the First Amendment and freedom of speech overrides my personal feelings. She has the right to say
That's
it.
fine. You can support the First Amendment, but you can also have a
nigga acts like he can't chew and he can't chew gum and walk at the same time. Like this is pathetic. You can't say, oh, you support the freedom of speech, but you don't agree with the fuck she said to a child. You can't do both.
Personal view about what she said.
My bad, Chad. Let me pull this back a little bit so we can get what Piers said.
And freedom of speech overrides my personal feelings. She has the right to say
That's
it.
fine. You can support the First Amendment, but you can also have a personal view about what she said.
My feelings are irrelevant. The Constitution is the Constitution. That's what matters.
If your feelings are irrelevant and the Constitution is the Constitution, why are you on a talk show to give perspective? Why do we need you here?
Oh, that's fascinating. Hold on. So when it comes to chastising black Americans about their behavior, about calling white people crackers, as you say, about their moral claims about the racist system, you can let...
Right? You have a problem with all that, but you don't have a problem with the other. Like, come on, man. That's a definitely good point.
That's fascinating. Hold on. So when it comes to chastising black Americans about their behavior, about calling white people crackers, as you say, about their moral claims about the racist system, you can levy a judgment against black Americans for all the things they do. But when it comes to this woman saying the N-word, and this other woman endorsing it and saying that she herself uses the N-word, now all of a sudden we can only talk about the Constitution and the legal right. We can't offer any moral judgment against it. That's disingenuous.
Yo, that's facts. Yo. Shout out to Mark Lamont Hill for this because he's cooking. He's absolutely cooking, Myron.
And it's as the only black American up here, that's quite frustrating to hear.
Yeah, you hear that? The only black American up here. You tried it, Myron. Now take this goddamn L, nigga. Your disingenuous statements. You want to cry over one but act like you have no opinion on the other. This man wants white approval so bad. He wants to be one of them. It's so pathetic. When you hear him in Twitter spaces crying for their approval, and then you hear white supremacists saying, nah, Myron, we only need you until the job's done, then you got to get the fuck out of here too. This guy's pathetic.
If you want to be soft and get offended by that, that's your fucking problem. Now,
you want to be soft and offended by that, so you want to be soft and offended by Black Lives Matter movement? How about that? Did you see how it works, buddy?
Against it, that's disingenuous, and it's as the only black American up here, that's quite frustrating to hear.
Here's the thing. If you want to be soft and get offended by that, that's your fucking problem, not mine.
Bro wants to be soft and offended by women working, but you like stop it, man. Feminism has this nigga in the fetal position, curled up, taking an ass whooping. Oh! But he wants to talk about get emotional. Like, stop it, bruh.
Let me ask Ricky.
Let me ask Ricky. This isn't about being soft any more than when you were desperately saving these white people.
Hold on.
Right?
The sensitive nature that you have is precisely why we have this problem.
It's not about being sensitive. It's about I didn't articulate. Hold on.
The funniest thing, I'm gonna let this play out. He has not articulated any sensitivity. Myron is the only person that has reacted sensitive throughout this conversation so far.
Saving these white people.
Hold on. This sensitive nature that you have is precisely why we have this problem.
It's not about being sensitive. It's about I didn't articulate. Hold on. Let me finish, Myron. Let me speak and then I'll let you respond. Myron, sure. I didn't articulate any sensitivity here. What I said, in the same way that you levied a judgment against black people, I'm levying one against the claims you're making. I'm no more sensitive than you were when you made your claim. I'm simply saying I disagree with you. And to immediately jump to you're being sensitive is just a distraction. I'm making an argument here. Just
That's how you
respond to my
deflect.
argument.
That's how Myron deflects. He likes to get people off their square by saying you're sensitive, you're X, Y, and Z, taking character attacks instead of focusing on the actual argument. And it's like he did not allow him to derail. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Just because you disagree with my statement doesn't make me emotional, sir. Conduct yourself. Act stoic like the masculine alpha male that you're supposed to be, sir, and get it together.
Now, and my argument to respond to that is this. Political correctness, liberalism, and making sure that we are politically correct and don't use certain words to offend people is precisely why we're in the situation that we're in.
Bro, shut the fuck up. You were crying about Asian doll calling you mean. Women can't say certain words that offend your bitch ass, or you're kicking them off the platform, or you're making videos about them, chastising them. Women have to act a certain way, and if they don't, society's crumbling. But you're talking about, oh, be politically correct, speak a certain way. Bro, shut up. The worst representative for these conversations. The worst.
For decades, we've had to literally tiptoe around saying certain things around certain people, while the other group of people has been able to have impunity and be able to be as racist as they want to be, as violent as they want to be, without any type of consequence. And if you call it out, you're labeled a racist. The reality is this. Black people don't want to live around black people. I don't want to live around
Once again, bitch ass motherfucker, speak for yourself. You don't want to live around black people because you are an Uncle Ruckus. You want white acceptance so badly. So you'll sing whatever tune of a white supremacist you can to get on their good side, and guess what? They still don't accept you, sir. You're not white.
bunch of black people. I move to neighborhoods where it's majority white because I know I'm safe. Now, this is uncomfortable reality that no one wants to say, so I'll say it for them. Black people commit a lot of crimes. A majority of the violent crime committed in the United States is committed by a small percentage of people, and they tend to be black men. Look, the reality is the reality. People don't want to say it, but the political correctness and being nice and not wanting to tell the truth is precisely this problem. And the reason why you're seeing all the support for Metcalf and Shiloh, etc., is because white people have not been able to step up and say what they want to say for a very long time because of what I said before, systemic, organized, where they don't take accountability for their
All right, let me
decisions.
bring in Ricky to respond. Ricky.
So the support for Shiloh is white people have not been able to say what they've wanted to say for a long time. And to actually vilify and throw all white, to generalize and say white people, no, the racist white people, the white supremacist people are funding Shiloh. Those are the folks that want to say the N-word and act with impunity. To act like it's majority of the folks, like, or it's most of all, like all the folks, stop it. Stop it.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to say that I agree that virtue signaling went too far, that political correctness went too far, but we're going from virtue signaling being the norm and being praised to now vice signaling being the norm and being praised. It's not just a matter of does this woman have the right to use that word. I believe that she has the right. I disagree. Being the norm and being praised to now vice signaling being the norm and being praised.
They want to fight so hard against virtue signaling that we're just praising vice signaling now. It's just, oh, do the most egregious shit possible. Step on all the toes and be like, yep, this is okay, because if you're going against that, you're just virtue signaling and being a politically correct cuck. It's like, nah, man, stop it. You tried it, man.
It's not just a matter of does this woman have the right to use that word. I believe that she has the right. I disagree with it. But is she now being rewarded with $500,000? Why are we rewarding people for performing vice instead of virtue? This is not healthy. This is destructive to our society. This is destructive to our social fabric, to our culture, to our ability to live with other fellow Americans. It's gross to reward someone for bad behavior. It's one thing to tolerate it, to say that she has the right to do it, but she called an autistic 5-year-old the N-word. Like, I'm sorry, but I feel like we're kind of like missing the point in the
That is the only point here. All this other shit is convenient deflections because they don't want to deal with the matter.
for bad behavior. It's one thing to tolerate it, to say that she has the right to do it, but she called an autistic 5-year-old the N-word. Like, I'm sorry, but I feel like we're kind of like missing the point in the actual context. You can say that it's part of this bigger meta story of black and white America, but it actually is just like a short little clip, and you don't even know the context of it, and it's actually gross, and if we can't just say that it's gross and bad, then I don't really know where we are.
Well, I think it's interesting to me that Lilly Gaddis, you retweeted Nick Fuentes, the white supremacist, by saying he said black people just raised $500,000 for a cold-blooded killer who stabbed a white teenager to death. So I don't want to hear...
Cold-blooded killer? Did he approach Austin Metcalf and tell Austin Metcalf to get the fuck out of the tent, and then when Austin Metcalf didn't, he stabbed him? Is that what happened? Or did Austin Metcalf come to approach a black boy and think that he was entitled to just put his hands on him, enact an act of violence on a young black child? How old is this nigga? I keep saying child. Young. Let's just say young man. I don't even know how old he is. I didn't cover that story in full. Nonetheless, all right. You approach him in this attempt. Wait, why are we even talking about this? Isn't this about the autistic kid? Isn't this about the racist? Why we keep getting distracted and talking about the Metcalf situation? Nonetheless, they keep saying stone cold killer. You approach somebody, put your hands on them. They acted in an act of self-defense. Did he go too far? Well, he's facing murder charges, so one would presume he went too far, but he acted in self-defense. So I don't know what this revisionist history is.
One word about the Shiloh Hendricks fundraiser. Either everyone gets to be tribal or nobody does. Why would you retweet that?
Everybody gets to be tribal or nobody does. Okay, so with a population of 60% plus in the country, you want to be tribal, opposed to a population of 13%, 14% that has a history of being discriminated against. Killed, lynched, hung, raped, redlining, Jim Crow, always shorted, always getting the short end of the stick, getting fucked over, communities built up, burnt down when they're thriving. Oh, that community does not have a right to be tribal so they can actually succeed in a country, but the majority, the acting majority of the country is going to want to be tribal, the 60%. To what? Lock everybody else out? This is ridiculous.
Because I agree with it. Because we have to fight fire with fire. I mean, at some point, why are
nobody does?
Why are Jewish people allowed to be tribal? Why are black people allowed to be tribal? But as soon as white people stand up for themselves, we're labeled a racist. And by
oh yeah, Jewish people, yeah, the Holocaust, yeah, black people, slavery, yeah, majority of the miscellaneous white folks from different European countries. What do you guys have in common to be victims? Why do y'all want to be victims so badly? Why do y'all want to join the group of victimhood? We're trying to recover from atrocities. Like, what is, and she wants to join the group and be a victim too? Would you jealous of hardships? Make this shit make sense.
the way, you call people racist when you want them to stop talking about things.
No, I called you a racist because you admitted you were racist.
This is the epitome of unaccountability. You want to call people a racist? Oh my God, you want to call people racist?
You're a victim.
Here we go, CSI.
Several minutes ago. Yes, I am. Chest out. You said it. You said it. You admitted it. You are chest out racist. But now you want to play the victim that folks are acknowledging what you said. All right.
Hang on. I called, just to be clear, I called you a racist because you openly, proudly admitted you're a racist. So it wasn't a question of exposing you or pointing my finger or trying to get this out of you. You proudly sat there, bold as brass, and said, yeah, I use the N-word all the time against black people. I'm a racist and I'm proud of it. That's what you did.
Racism is just having a preference. I prefer not to live around black people. I prefer not to live in a country where white people in our...
All right, ma'am. I think she needs to know the difference between a preference and an aversion. You have an aversion to black people. You don't have a preference. You didn't say anything about you prefer to live around white. You said you don't like to live around blacks. You have an aversion to black people. It's not a preference.
Racist and I'm proud of it. That's what you did.
Racism is just having a preference. I prefer not to live around black people.
You prefer not to live around. I prefer to live around black people. I prefer to live around my community. But if I live around with a bunch of miscellaneous other folks from other communities, guess what? I don't care. I care about the actual place I live in, the square footage, the acreage, the price. You just racist, ma'am. You just racist.
To live in a country where white people in our country are disproportionately attacked by black people. Where in my country, you can have an Austin Metcalf where he asks a guy to leave and he gets stabbed in the...
Oh, now we're disingenuous. Oh, he just asked. He asked. He merely asked the man to leave. He didn't put his hands on him. None of that happened. We're just going to X that out so you can be innocent victim. Stop it, ma'am.
Heart. I prefer that. That's a preference. Now, what a real racist is, in my opinion, is seeing someone as less human. I'm a Christian. I believe everyone's created in God's image. So I don't see anyone as less human. But that doesn't mean I'm not allowed to have a preference and say, I don't like what happens to be coming out of this community or that community. How is that a bad thing? How is that not just a preference?
Because you've literally made black people sound lesser humans. You don't want to live around them. You want to use the N-word in relation to them, a word that you know...
Yeah, you want to dehumanize them with the N-word. You don't want to live around them. You call them, like I'm not one of us. You want to call us violent criminals. Like, stop it, ma'am.
Is that community unbelievable
offense?
offense?
My fault? Is that my fault? If they have bad behavior, if they want to act in a certain way, if I have to cross the street and be afraid that maybe because of the crime statistics that are very real, by the way, is that my fault or is that their fault for having bad behavior?
That's mind-boggling to me for multiple reasons. I mean, we're talking about bad behavior. You know, we've never lynched you, we've never enslaved you, we've never done any of the deep-seated structural forms of injustice to white.
And the most egregious part about this, oh yeah, black people and their bad behavior. Okay, ma'am, did you forget this segment was about Shiloh Hendricks and her egregiously bad behavior, disrespecting a 5-year-old autistic black child? So you want to double down and support that because it's freedom of speech, although you know it's terrible behavior. But you want to reprimand black folks from years ago. Talk about, 2020, 2016. It's like, bitch, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up with your unaccountable ass. We shouldn't be platforming folks like this, and I doubt Piers will ever platform her or Myron again, especially after Myron tries to wave the Nazi flag at the end, trying to do some last-minute crash out to fuck up this man's platform. Like this isn't a pre-record. You goddamn fool.
Again! White people, that white people have done to black people, and yet to claim some kind of moral superiority in the midst of, and again, in the context of a conversation where a white woman is calling a 5-year-old autistic child the N-word, and we're talking about black people's bad behavior, this is absurd. And the idea of fighting fire with fire, again, is a dishonest argument. Just to take us back to the point here, the people who are supporting Carmelo Anthony's campaign believe that he was wrongfully charged and they're trying to get him legal defense. The people who are defending this woman are saying, yes, we know you called the 5-year-old autistic black child the N-word, and we want more of it. We approve of it. We support it. These are not the same thing, and it's bonkers.
Yo, when you just hear that, in a vacuum, just hear that. Oh yeah, you called a 5-year-old autistic child the N-word, and we want more of it. That sounds insane. It sounds insane, and these folks are chest out just campaigning for it. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
This woman are saying, yes, we know you called the 5-year-old autistic black child the N-word, and we want more of it. We approve of it. We support it. These are not the same thing. And it's bonkers to me that we couldn't all stand and say, hey, it is wrong to call a 5-year-old autistic black child the N-word. I mean, Myron, let me just ask you that question. I think this is a yes or no question. Correct me if I'm wrong. Do you think the woman was wrong to do what she did to that child in that park?
I don't approve of that, but what I will say is that it's very important to understand the entire context of what led us to this position.
All due respect, shut the hell up. I don't want to hear that.
Make this make sense.
Because again, Metcalf and Hendricks is a microcosm of a much larger problem. Earlier, we were talking about tribalism when you were mentioning Nick Fuentes' tweet. Here's the thing. Black people could be as tribal as they want to be. You have people like Tariq Nasheed, Dr. Umar Johnson running around about black power and marry black women and keep it in the hood and all this other stuff. But if white people
keep it in the hood,
Stay off the weed.
Black people could be as tribal as they want to be. You have people like Tariq Nasheed, Dr. Umar Johnson running around about black power and marry black women and keep it in the hood and all this other stuff. But if white people assemble and say, you know what, white power, we need to keep our nation white, they're immediately ostracized and Dr. Umar Johnson running around about black power and marry black women and keep it in the hood and all this other stuff. But if white people assemble and say, you know what, white power, we need to keep our nation white, they're immediately ostracized and labeled as supremacists, and they get banned off every single platform.
He's not saying this seriously when minutes ago we just seen Lilly do the exact same thing and campaign for the exact same thing. Is she being ostracized and canceled, and she's on national television getting these thoughts off on a pre-record? Does it not register with this fool?
Find that interesting. And matter of fact, you went ahead.
Isn't that the same thing?
No, actually it is the same thing, because here's the problem with black people.
No,
you
it's
guys
not.
Hold on, let me finish this. Black people practice the very racism they cry about. You guys can gather together and say Black Lives Matter, Black Power, but if white people get to...
Black Lives Matter was based off of injustices done to black folks by the hands of police who are supposed to protect those said black folks, and those black folks pay their hard-earned tax dollars to ensure that the police serve and protect, not kill us. That's what Black Lives Matter is about. Police just discarding our lives with impunity and them getting off scot-free. So they're getting off scot-free, vacations with their suspensions, no criminal charges, they're getting away, no murder charges. The Black Lives Matter movement happened, and all of a sudden we start getting some justice. We put enough attention on each individual case, and then the officers start getting the murder charges, not just the suspensions with pay. They're actually getting held accountable. That's what that is about. When a citizen, a black citizen, kills a white citizen, two regular citizens of the country, and that black citizen is now charged for murder, what the fuck is a White Lives Matter campaign about? That is the justice system doing what it's supposed to do. You kill someone, you get charged with murder. Now we look into the minutia of what happened during the encounter and during the actual killing. Was it self-defense? Was it X, Y, and Z? But they're going through the process. The problem is, folks, these white folks in the comments, and when you go through the comments of everybody that, like when I looked at Tim Pool standing up for Carmelo Anthony, and the white folks destroyed him. Now, I'm saying white folks, the racist white folks, the white supremacist folks killed him, and act like Austin Metcalf has the right, like he is entitled to put his hands on Carmelo Anthony without anything happening to him. They all just think that he can just do that. He's entitled to. Oh, he's a white boy. He can just do what he wants to this black child. It's like, what the hell is wrong with y'all? It's ridiculous. Keep your hands to yourself.
Together and say, white power gather together, they're considered white supremacists, and they get banned off every single platform. Why is that Jared Taylor and Nick Fuentes are banned off every platform for practicing white nationalism, but black people are allowed to stand every single platform getting interviews on a Breakfast Club? Explain that to me. There's a two-tier situation here where black people are able to benefit off of being racist while whites are not. And what we're dealing with right now in America is literally a backlash to this black supremacy has been able to run around unchecked for a long time, and no one has the balls to call it out. Here's the other thing I want to say. Everyone's flipping out over Shiloh Hendricks is saying the N-word.
Hey, can I respond to the point you just made, though?
No, hold on. Nobody flipped out like this when the United States was getting destroyed in 2020 because of black protests to destroy.
What? Why is he keep more deflections, more false equivalences, random deflections, 2016, 2020? What does this have to do with Shiloh? oh, it's a microcosm of X, Y, and Z, and it's ingrained in it's okay. So you're basically saying that things happened in America that justifies white people being racist to black people, but you're gonna escape everything that happened in black history. The slavery, the lynching, all the things that give black people justification to be upset with white folks. You're taking the recent history of the Black Lives Matter movement of folks protecting themselves in their best interest against the police, and you're trying to say that this justifies a grown-ass woman calling a 5-year-old autistic child the N-word and raising up to $1 million and having white folks campaigning for this. It's the dumbest argument alive. Well, I'm saying argument's alive. What the hell? It's the dumbest argument currently online. It's pathetic. It's disingenuous.
Every liberal city in America. So I don't want to hear it about, oh, she made $100,000 because she said the N-word. Who cares? They destroyed billions of dollars of structure because someone got killed who was a criminal. That's the problem in America. You guys get a privilege that no one else gets to enjoy. You could be racist.
Okay.
And
all right, I have to hang on. I'm going to hold it there. We've got another guest joining us.
Just absolute idiotic points. Now, what I did, he cuts it here because he has a guest and he interviews the Give, Send, Go CEO. I believe it's the CEO. Do not quote me on that. It's a representative from Give, Send, Go. But I cut that out and I put that at the end. So we're going to listen to that after. I want to continue this. I don't want to get any... because it's like a 10-minute interview he has with the guy. It's going to take us off of the momentum of what's going on here, and we got to get to these crash outs.
Mark, I'll come back to you to respond to that in a moment. Okay, let's go back to the panel there. I mean, Ricky, it seemed to me a lot of inconsistencies in Mr. Wells's position, not least the donning of the Christian hat when it suits them, but then removing it when it doesn't.
You know, I think it's definitely tough to make the call here and there and where to censor. I err on the side of not censoring as much as possible, but I agree with you that the selectivity of having issues with abortion but not with these campaigns is certainly a problem. But I also want to go back to our point before, too, and make the point that I hate this argument that because some people were tribal, we should be tribal, too. And shouldn't we want to live in a society where we say tribalism is bad in general and negative in general, and so therefore we should be erring towards individualism and not fighting tribalism with more tribalism? I think that's a net negative.
I agree. Myron, your last words on this.
Okay. Because I never got to respond to Myron's other...
The thing with tribalism, it's a natural human instinct. Like, we are literally designed to want to be in communities and want to be a part of a set of community because it ensures our survival. It's been that way since the beginning of time. So the thing is that people are typically going to align with people that share similar features, and that's why we have the tribalism we have going on right now. So the problem is it's not going to go anywhere. I think the problem is that we've had this penting up for literally decades, and this has been a response to it. You have people that are coming out and supporting someone who you guys might deem as a terrible racist.
Do you hear how asinine this sounds, Myron? This has been pent up and building for decades, ignoring the 400 plus years of slavery. You're understanding the white side because that's the side that you ID with. They don't accept you. That's what's so funny about it. You identify with them, they don't accept you. You can see their side of the last couple of decades from some protests that were justified. Maybe the end result from the folks that pretty much hijacked the protest and ended up looting some of the shit wasn't good. Nonetheless, you're trying to make that justify racism towards black people when black people endured far, far worse atrocities that aren't even comparable in the slightest.
But I think it's also very important to understand how we got here, because if we're going to look at the smaller problem, we can't look at the bigger problem, and it's what I said before.
You're not looking at the bigger problem, sir. You're talking about the last few decades, sir. The last few decades, and ignoring most of American history. It's pathetic.
For unchecked systemic...
All right, Mark Lamont Hill, your last...
Systemic... Black folks, systemic advantages in America...
words on this.
This repeated use of the word, I think, first of all, I want to just register that as offensive, particularly as someone who doesn't identify as a member of that community and who is not, right? I think that's incredibly
I'm the definition of African American.
You hear this? You hear this dumb shit. He says he's the definition of African American. Bro, you are Sudanese American. African American is a term allotted for the blacks that were brought over here in slavery, that don't know the specific country that, because the problem is, back when they were taken into slavery, the countries weren't, the African map wasn't even the way it was. But nonetheless, they don't have a specific country, so it's African American. That's why Tariq Nasheed started the FBA movement saying foundational black Americans, for motherfuckers like you that try to hijack the term. And I don't agree with a lot of the shit that Tariq Nasheed be doing, because he be finessing. But it's because of folks like you that he even has grounds to even change the name, because you try to hijack it.
I'm the definition of African American.
And troublesome, and to as a Sudanese American or an outsider who's using African American, the very technical term, the same way that Elon Musk is an African American, I think it is a bit disingenuous.
Very
but
disingenuous.
The bigger issue here, I think, is that, you know, this idea of equating of one side to the other side often loses track of this issue of power. To use his example, when black people stand up and say, "Hey, let's build our own stuff. Hey, let's have a black power movement," that is not the same as a white power. I'll let you speak uninterrupted. Let me finish, please, my Sudanese brother. So when a black person says, "Hey, let's preserve our culture," I have no problem with Italians or Irish people or anyone else saying, "Let's preserve our culture." But when we don't talk about ethnicity, but actual...
Exactly. There is nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with that.
Race. When white people say, "Let's preserve whiteness," it's an exclusionary practice. It's about preserving laws and practices and tactics that do harm to other people. A black power movement was about opening stores and building businesses. A white power movement was a white power... That's the giga. A white power movement was about something very, 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 very different. A white power movement included lynchings and included Ku Klux Klan, etc. So let's not pretend that these are opposite sides of the same coin. When white people say, "Let's save our country," and even using the language of our country,
it's not your country.
Black people built this thing. When you say that, you're talking about forcing people out of the country. You're talking about laws that discriminate. You're talking about doing harm to people. Let's not pretend these are the same thing. Just like these GoFundMe campaigns are not the same thing. I'm okay if everybody gets out of the GoFundMe industrial complex. I'd love that. But let's not pretend that supporting someone for a fair trial is the same thing as supporting a grown white woman berating and calling the N-word to a 5-year-old autistic black child. And the fact that everyone in here can't be unanimous in condemning that says exactly how they're not the same.
I totally agree. I'm going to go to Lilly.
Shout out to Mark Lamont Hill for that, because he cooked. There's nothing Myron could say about that. The fact that we are focusing and trying to juxtapose the two incidents is just pathetic, because it's a mere deflection. We can't put 100% of our focus on one of the main point of the conversation, because we just want to, oh, but what about this and this and this? It's like, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about. It's not a microcosm. It's not this deep embedded thing that's built up. We're speaking about one racist bitch that called a 5-year-old child, autistic child, the N-word, repeatedly chest out, and then called the older man the N-word as well. Not remorseful, not running a give, send, go like, oh, I fucked up, I need to be accountable, my acts were racist, they were X, Y, and Z. She didn't do none of that. She's chest out, doubling down, has people like Lilly and Myron defending her racism, and y'all want us to just be okay with it. How far do you want society to devolve in? Myron's talking about traditional values in X, Y, and Z, chastising feminists, right, left, and center, but he just wants to turn a blind eye to this. He wants to complain about Black Lives Matter and X, Y, and Z, but not see it on the other end. It's bad.
Gaddis, and just ask you one more time, I mean, you've been so unashamedly proud of being a racist today, proud of using the N-word whenever you feel like it. You've had a bit of time to think about this. Is that how you want people to leave this panel debate, with thinking of you as a disgusting racist?
I don't really care what people think about me. As long as you care about what people think about you, you have no power and you lose your country. What I care about is freedom of speech.
You lose your country? Like, yo, these people sound so fucking stupid, man.
And if you're not allowed to say the most offensive things in this country, you do not have freedom of speech. I don't care what anybody says. So that's the main crux of this situation. That's what I care about with this situation. It is, we have lived for far too long in a country where you can have your life destroyed. And people say, oh, she doesn't need this money. Her life's destroyed, by the way. She'll never be able to get another job. She's got children to have to support.
Y'all were the same folks that got up here and said black people act in a certain way with such bad behavior and nothing happens to them. Nothing happens to them. They walk off scot-free. There's all good X, Y, and Z, and it's such an injustice. They're stealing your country, blah, blah, blah. But you are sitting up here campaigning for a woman to be not have any contrition, any remorse, just be chest out racist, or you want to play the victim, oh, her life, X, Y, and Z. It's like, ma'am, these are the results of your actions. You chose your path. So if you are X'd out of certain communities, excommunicated, fired from your job, you're looked at as a deplorable human being, and you're making that decision chest out. And you want everyone to just accommodate you while you're being a bad, vile person? How does this make any sense? You want to move with impunity. And then you want to chastise folks that you deem the moving the same way, which they don't. You're just making a false equivalency to basically get away with your bullshit.
And I don't want to live in a country where you can say an inappropriate, rude thing, which, by the way, black people can say things to white people all the time and they never get canceled. There's no backlashing about this. I want to live in a country where people are allowed to say what they want unashamedly, and you will
well, go
not
on then,
have
say it. Say
you
the
will
M.
not have
Go on,
free speech.
go on. Say the M word. Go on.
No.
Now, Mark Lamont Hill kind of gets cooked for his reaction on this because he kind of acts emotionally, but setting her up to disrespect the only person on the platform that will feel a certain way of her saying the word it's bad. I understand his reaction. He's like, yo, what are you fucking doing? This only affects me. If there was a Jewish person on the panel and somebody used a Jewish slur just for the fuck of it because they want to say it, that Jewish person is the only person harmed and no one gives a fuck. That's not cool. So it's the same as the black person.
Unashamedly, and you will
well, go
not
on then,
have
say
free
it. Say
You
the
will
M.
not have
Go on,
free
say.
speech.
Go on, say the M word. Go on.
No.
Don't
Invite. No. I don't want you to invite this woman to say a racially harmful term in front of me because I'm the only on here. So if she says it, I'm the victim of it. So please don't invite her for ratings to call me the N-word, because that's basically what it's going to be. There's a bunch of white people up here, you and one Uncle Tom on the left here, and to ask her to say the N-word
Facts.
while I'm here is ridiculous.
And you see this? The Nazi flag. Then as soon as he said to Uncle Tom, Myron's crashing out now. He wants to do the most. This is his first time on national television. And what does he do? Crash out, Nazi flag, blurred. It's a pre-record, you idiot. Learn the rules. What's wrong with this guy? He thought he pulled a quick one. Piers looked at, hold on, let me move the chat. Piers looks at him with this most disgusted look on his face. He's like, Myron, what are you doing? This is pre-recorded, you idiot. We're going to blur this and you're never invited again. Like you didn't think this through, you idiot. You crashed out like you did on YouTube. Demonetized, no opportunities on television. Where's the chat button? I can't even find this shit. I'm trying to remove the chat so y'all can see expressions. There we go. He was not playing with this shit. He put this up and he's like, bro, what are you doing? This is a pre-record. We're not live like your Dusty show or my Dusty show.
Again! For ratings to call me the N-word, because that's basically what it's going to be. There's a bunch of white people up here, you and one Uncle Tom on the left here, and to ask her to say the N-word while I'm here is ridiculous. You would not sit here with a Jewish person and say, please use a Jewish slur.
That's facts. That's very, very insensitive for him to do that. But shout out to John with the $5 super chat.
Donations.
John says, but really though, 150K, she can go all Auntie Ruckus on me while I rearrange what's inside. Hey, what?
Oh my God.
Yo, this guy went full Shannon Sharp mode, yo.
Lakers in 5.
What the hell? What the hell, John? What The fuck are you doing out here?
Brother,
Damn, man. Do you know that? Do you know that she was a corn star? This Shiloh Hendricks woman allegedly has herpes.
Brother,
Allegedly, I heard that from, I think, who is it? Who said that? Was it Lee? Did you see it? Did you say that?
I've seen him do it.
Yeah, I gotta say allegedly because I'm hearing these things about she's a no-name brand, so whatever you hear, you gotta take it with a grain of salt because she is an absolute nobody. But yeah, man.
Friend of this Jew, it's ridiculous. I understand you don't have any bad intent, Piers. I understand what you're trying to do,
I-
but we
you know
already
what,
know
Mark?
she's
I
racist,
hear you.
and I don't want to invite
Mark,
a racial harm to me.
I
to
hear
prove
you. I hear you, and I accept that, and we'll leave it there. Thank you all very much. We've been joined now by Jacob Wells. He's the
See, at this point, Piers was not playing this shit.
No, she's
Mark, I
racist,
hear you.
and I don't want to invite a racial harm to me.
I
to
hear
prove
you. I hear you, and I accept that.
I hear you and I accept that. And then he ends the show. This is where the show ended. I'm gonna pull back up the interview with the Give Send Go CEO. We still got to react to that. That's why I cropped it out, or I edited it out and put it at the end because it kind of ruined the flow of this interview. But the reason why they put that there is because they want to have max retention. There's a cliffhanger. You leave it on a cliffhanger. You put the Give Send Go thing. You're watching it on television. You get max retention. You want to see the Give Send Go conversation just so you can get to the end of this. We don't need to do that. We're not on live television. It is what it is. Hold up, chat. Let me pull up this super chat. Shout out to John with the $2 super chat.
Donations.
John says, yeah, I know she did film. Nigga got a mortgage. Yo. Hey, yo, this man's taking one for the mortgage.
Stick together.
Pause. Yeah, I didn't deliver that right. That sounded a little...
You don't find that suspicious?
Damn, man. Even though... Okay, so you are about the action with this Becky, even if she has the herpingipply. Even if it's confirmed that she has the herpingipply, you're still about it, bruh?
brother,
Nah, but Rello wants next.
Leave some walls for me at least. You know what I'm saying?
And we'll leave it there. Thank you all very much. We've been joined now by Jacob Wells. He's the Christian founder of the Give, Send, Go donation site that both campaigns have been hosted on. Thank you very much indeed for joining me, Mr. Wells. First of all, your reaction to what seems to me to be a blatant hijacking of both of these fundraising host sites for different reasons, but definitely been hijacked by people for racist motivation.
Y'all asking if I'm still doing the Austin video after this. You know, I will do the Austin video if I get a PayPal. If somebody hits that PayPal, we will still do the Austin video. If not, it's postponed. Yep, we are being that cheap today. Yep, that's exactly what's happening, chat. That's exactly what's happening.
Survey said
we need to work. We need to be more focused on these donations.
Donations.
John with the $2 super chat. Shout out to John. John says she got the herp. Okay, $350K. $350K is enough for you to take one of the herps, bruh?
brother, what's that?
That's for life, bro. $350K and you chest out jumping into some herps, bruh? That is bad, man. Well, I get some people get it for free. Some people make the mistake and get it for free.
you're a victim. Here we go, CSI.
But honestly, John,
personally, I feel like that brother needed help.
Nigga, you gotta go.
The fuck is wrong with you?
No, I think that's completely correct, Piers. I do think that there was an element here that did hijack, that came at this and really became a racist, tribalist element between the two campaigns. Independently of themselves, I think that they would have existed on our platform in a whole different manner, but because of the narratives around them and the proximity to each other, they created a life of their own, and it is unfortunate, it's sad to see, because as a Christian myself, what I respect about humanity and the image of God on us, I believe that we're all valuable. I believe that people have dignity and worth, and we want to see that upheld for people, even in difficult moments. That's why our platform exists, is to share hope with people. And it's been a difficult week, several weeks of just navigating the complexity of these situations as a platform.
Studies show.
All right, so let me break this down for y'all. All right, $2 ain't nothing.
LT checked him. LT said,
$2. All right, man. YouTube on a super chat. YouTube's taking how many percent of that? I can't even remember the percentage YouTube takes. YouTube takes a hefty percent of the super chats. All right, that's why Floyd says Cash App only, because YouTube's taking their cut. Do y'all know minimum wage is like $17.75? Minimum wage is literally $17.75 in my damn city. What the hell is a $2 super chat, bruh? Y'all gonna leave me in poverty.
Fugazi, fugazi.
Nah, I'm being ungrateful. But yeah, we're still going to do the show because that's how I get the money. I got to do shows to get the money. So I'm incentivized to do the shows to get the money. So we're still going to do the Austin show. It's going to be late because we're always late, chat, but it is what it is.
Personally, I feel like that brother needed help.
Shout out to Damn, shout out to the Informant Media with the 19-month membership of the Chat Pass. Salute to you. Also, shout out to John with the $2 super chat. Now, I know I was talking shit about $2 super chats, but I literally appreciate every single super chat, whether it be $1, $2, 99-cent membership. It all adds up, all right? I was just being ungrateful because I'm trying to make y'all spend a little bit more money. But shout out to John with the $2 super chat. He says, it's tough. I almost prefer Pearl for free. Yikes. Pearl for free? Pearl gonna have to pay. Nah, Pearl gonna have to pay. I don't know, Pearl for free. Yeah, for me it's free, but for her, nah, man. She been smoking. If she thinks she gonna get free, nah, she gonna have to pay.
Who are you, Snoop Dogg in the green room? I mean, what the hell is going on?
Shout out to the Informant Media with the $2 or the 99 cents. Yeah, that's 99 cents. 99-cent super chat. Can't even say dollars. I can't even say dollars at the end of the super chat. 99 cents.
Nasty bitch.
Shout out to the Informant Media. Appreciate the super chat. I appreciate the membership as well. Shout out to the Informant Media. Shout out to Stay Gold Radio with the $5 super chat.
Donations.
Stay Gold Radio, Brother Jumpy says, get your black ass on that Austin show. We bored, nigga. Hey, John, what's good, Crody? Hey, yo, y'all, hold up. Y'all are bored in the show, telling me y'all bored in the show? Now, Chad, this is a new low. We got folks exiting the building while the show's still going. Folks are like, get to the Austin show.
It's my turn!
And I'm like, whoa, hold up, buddy. Hold up, buddy. We still got like 20 minutes left in this.
Know that strength training burns more fat than cardio alone and is critical for maintaining muscle.
Wait, what the hell is this? I didn't cut out all the ads? Wow, I'm a victim.
You're a victim. Here we go, CSI.
So do y'all not care about the Give, Send, Go guy? Do y'all not care about I'll donate 100? All right, yo, can y'all hit the PayPal? Can I get some PayPal money? Can YouTube stop stealing like 50% of the cut? Could one of y'all hit the PayPal? I tagged it for a reason. I did not even pin the call-in link. I pinned the PayPal. I'm like, one of y'all niggas gonna hit this PayPal.
Survey said donations.
Now, see, it's paramount that I get a level of donations for this, because whenever you talk about topics of racism, YouTube hits that demonetization so fast. This is on the house, my nigga. Without your donations, shout out to John, shout out to Brother Jumbie. Without y'all, I'm doing this for free. I'm literally standing on the principle of standing on business, because when you have these type of conversations, you get demonetized. There's a creator on this platform that stands on black business. His name is Neferkari D. Dessalines. Yeah, he stole Emperor Dessalines' name. Nonetheless, it doesn't matter. He stands on black business. Yesterday, he was demonetized. For what? For what? He has original content, original commentary. He got demonetized. Why? Because he's standing up for basically standing on the black agenda, standing up for black nations everywhere, reporting on Ibrahim Traore, and he's getting demonetized. I'm like, what the hell is that? That's crazy. Shout out to John with the $5 super chat. John says, ugly racism for free, or herps racism for free fitty, or well, for tree diddy. Wait, what the hell? Why am I struggling to say this? For tree fitty. Tree fitty. I turned into a straight Canadian. I lost all my Guyanese and Jamaican roots, and I couldn't even say tree fitty. Oh! What up, Jumbie? Who you hurting this weekend? Yeah, Jumbie. Yo, y'all gotta go. Y'all gotta go. And this is a free promo. This is on the house. Y'all gotta go subscribe to Jumbie on Instagram, y'all. What's Jumbie's Instagram again? Y'all, do you want this promo, Jumbie? Do you want more Instagram followers? Y'all gotta go see, Jumbie on Instagram. Yo, Jumbie's holding it down on Instagram. Shout out to Brother Jumbie. Brother Jumbie says, bored in life, nigga, I got kids. Shout out to Brother Jumbie with the $5 super chat.
Donations.
It's boring, honestly. Your Austin videos are better. Do y'all realize what y'all are in for? Do y'all realize that the Austin video is literally Austin swiping on Tinder for 5 hours? It's literally that. It's literally just us pointing out, like, look at this guy. He's on Tinder. Yeah, he's swiping. Hour went by. He's still swiping. That brother needs some milk. He's still swiping. That's what it is. That's literally the show. I'm like, man, why do y'all want this? Y'all are tripping. Y'all are tripping. Yeah, okay, so yeah, that's what it is. It's War Chief Jumbie. Shout out to Brother Jumbie. Y'all got to go subscribe or follow on Instagram. Brother Jumbie holding it down on Instagram, man. Y'all got to go check out this man's IG. Yeah, we're going to wrap this up then. Y'all bored? It's almost shameful running a show with the chat being like, yeah, we're bored, bruh. We are bored. And it's like, folks that watch the rewatch, they might be interested in this, but y'all are bored, so this is pathetic. I can't keep doing this. This is like the walk of shame, chat. Damn. Nobody clipped this. Nobody clipped this. All right, we're going to do a poll. Put a 1 in the chat if y'all want me to finish this reaction, or a 2 in the chat if y'all want me to just wrap this up and move on to the next show, which y'all going to have to wait an hour anyway because the nigga got to eat. So what do y'all want, man? 1 in the chat if y'all want me to continue. 2 in the chat for me to end the show, and y'all going to have to wait for the next show anyway. So what do y'all want, man? 1 in the chat, continue. 2 in the chat, we wrap it up. We finish here. We land the plane. We wrap this up. We don't listen to this Give Send Go guy. We out. So we got 1 in the chat. The ones are winning. We got a 2 in the chat. We got another 1. All right, we got another 1. All right, so the ones are winning 3-1 right now. Do not blow a 3-1 lead. All right, so we winning. Let's continue this.
Who's filming her doesn't care, is blatantly racist. Why should someone like that be allowed to raise any money on your site if, as you say, you are driven by a Christian purpose?
Well, that's a fascinating question. I would almost flip it around. It's like if we tried to create litmus tests for everybody to come onto a platform to use it, I pretty much could guarantee nobody would pass the litmus test, because the reality of humanity is that we're broken. This is the whole principle.
Donations. Donations.
Damn it, chat. My headphones died. Give me a second. We got to plug in the next one.
Donations. Donation.
There we go. Shout out to C Butterfly J with the $20 PayPal. C Butterfly J is the real MVP. Shout out to... She says, "What's up, LTTV? What up, C Butterfly J? Real MVP with the $20 PayPal." Now, let's get to the other one. Who else we got? We got John with the $5 super chat.
Donations. Donations.
John says, is Austin's rat, what is this? Is Austin's rathead MILF mama in for it? If not, nah. Yeah, I struggle to read that one. Oh, ratchet MILF mama. Okay, there's a missing T. Is Austin's ratchet MILF mama in it? Nah, if not, then nah. Okay, his ratchet, nah, she's not in it.
Fugazi.
She's not in it at all. But yeah, he's swiping for hours, man.
Of Jesus in the first place says is that we needed a savior, and that's what he came for.
Wait, what did I miss? Hold up, chat. I think I missed a super chat. I missed a super chat. Oh, no, I didn't. Nah, we good. We got these. Yeah, we got these.
Just to be clear, then, hang on, just to be clear, so that's interesting what you just said. So you would let anybody onto your platform to raise money for anything? Is that your position?
No, the position is that there are laws that define what is legal and what isn't legal, and we adhere to the laws as the framework for what is and isn't allowed.
But inciting racial hatred is a crime, right?
Inciting racial hatred is a crime?
Yeah.
Where?
You don't think it's a crime?
In the U.S.?
Yeah, it is.
I've never seen that as a law on the books, but
it is.
That was part of the reason.
Hold up. Because I keep interrupting this, I don't know if y'all even caught the flow of the conversation that happened. He said that he doesn't make judgments on who he will allow to raise money on his site. It's open for anybody. He only complies with the laws. And then he told him that this is illegal and he doesn't even know the law. He's like, wait, what? This is a law? So I was like, I thought you were in compliance with the laws, but you don't know the laws to be in compliance with them. So what are you complying with?
For what is and isn't allowed. No, the position is that there are laws that define what is legal and what isn't legal. And we adhere to the laws as the framework for what is and isn't allowed.
But inciting racial hatred is a crime, right?
Inciting racial hatred is a crime?
Yeah.
Where?
You don't think it's a crime?
In the U.S.?
Yeah, it is.
I've never seen that as a law on the books, but
it is.
That was part of the reason.
I'm not even American, and I know it's a law on the books. You're not allowed to incite racial hatred or violence against ethnic groups based on their ethnicity. What could be a more glaring example than someone on camera calling black people the N-word?
Violence and words are two different things, and we do make a distinction of that in America. They are very clearly different things. I don't know of any law. I'd be happy for you to inform me with what that law is, because I don't know everything. I'm happy to admit that. But as has already been mentioned on the show earlier,
you should know the laws as it relates to your platform, because you said you comply with the laws of the land. So you should know which ones you would kind of step into the gray area with on your platform. You should probably know that, especially when they're raising millions and millions of dollars and you don't want to get into the minutia of dictating what is good and what's not, only complying with the law. You should probably know what laws to comply with, sir.
There are needs that exist outside of the reality of that moment for Shiloh. I don't condone the behavior. Obviously, we didn't see the actual behavior that was accused in the moment. What we saw was the aftermath of a kind of baited moment. Yeah,
but she carries on using the N-word to a black person with impunity. That's a racist.
Yeah, well, she might have some racial elements. I don't know. I don't know Shiloh.
N-word to a black person with impunity. That's a racist.
Yeah, well, she might have some racial elements. I don't know. I don't know Shiloh
Some
personally.
racial element. She uses the N-word.
That's a joke. That's a joke. You told me all I needed to hear just right there, sir. The mental gymnastics to deny that she's racist. Oh, well, she might have some racist elements. She chest out. What the fuck are we doing out here?
Repeatedly to a black man, and she doesn't deny having just used it to a 5-year-old black child. I'm not sure what more evidence you need that this person's a racist. And my question for you is simply, where is that line for you? You say it's the law,
well,
but if somebody is literally raising hundreds of thousands of dollars to support them because they were blatantly racist, I'm just curious how that fits with the Christian ethos of what your site's supposed to be about.
Well, it fits actually very well, because we can, like I started to say, we don't operate on a litmus test of your past behaviors as far as the services that you get to provide. The moment that you start walking down the narrative that we're not going to provide you electricity, water, because we don't like you, the structural elements, the movement of money, which is a basic element to society.
So let me just ask you this. So if someone was being blatantly anti-Semitic,
shout out to John with the $5 super chat.
Donations.
Piers, John says Piers is being disingenuous. He's conflating hate speech with hate crime. Using the N-word is not a crime in the U.S., nor is just being racist. Being racist is, it's not a crime in the U.S. Using the N-word is not a crime in the U.S. because you guys are protected by freedom of speech. Inciting hate and violence towards a subsect of people is what I believe Piers was referring to. Inciting hate, not speaking about hate speech or a hate crime. He's talking about the incitement of hate. He was saying that that's illegal. Like you can't campaign to basically build up these environments that incite hate. And there's a reason why the Give Send Go guy took down the comments for both campaigns. He took down the comments for the Shiloh Hendricks campaign, and they removed the comments for the Carmelo Anthony campaign because he knew that there were hotspots for people that were trying to incite hatred and start a race war. So you removed the comments, but for some reason you kept the campaign up so they can continuously raise money. So it looked like some fake hustle to me. It looked like some, we're just making it look like it's cleaner, but we're still doing the atrocities. We're still participating in the fuckery, pretty much.
for example, right? Would you allow them to raise money on your platform to defend themselves over their anti-Semitism?
We sit in a very interesting position as a platform in trying to navigate the complexities of these issues.
Yeah, so what's the answer, though? What's the answer?
You can say things. Well, I'll say historically, we've stood on that principle of saying we're going to allow things that we disagree with.
Okay.
And we've allowed things that we completely disagree with.
Do you allow
on the
people to
platform.
do
But our
pro-abortion?
mission-
Do you allow pro-abortion fundraising?
Actually, there's two caveats to what Give Send Go has carved out, and one of them is it's broken into two pieces, but it's the protection of children. So we say we're going to protect children.
What I think is disgusting about this is that folks are standing on the justification of being racist more than they are looking into the fact of we need to protect our children. They're not looking at the child element that this woman was berating a child. Whether she said that, it's like, it's almost worse that she said the N-word, because now it's like you have a bunch of protectors and a bunch of people that are these racist justifiers trying to justify it. If she called the kid a bitch, called the little kid whatever, any type of name, any disrespectful name, any other type of word, called the little kid a cunt or something, then it would be like, why are you being disrespectful? Why are you calling that child a name? Why are you berating a child? Because you went racial, you have all these racist folks defending it. And the fact that I'm even moving to even speak about another word instead of trying to deal with that shows how effective their deflections are. It's pathetic. It's real pathetic. It's real pathetic.
because they don't have a voice. So we're not going to allow fundraising for abortions on Give, Send, Go, and we're not going to allow fundraising for the transition of children.
Okay, but what about a
fundraising on Give,
5-year-old
Send, Go.
child being? What about a 5-year-old black child being called the N-word?
What about that?
Where does the protection for that child come in?
Well, that's their parents' responsibility. That's like if my child, and I have several children.
Donations.
Shout out to C Butterfly J. C Butterfly J with the big $20 PayPal. We got another one. Shout out to C Butterfly J. C Butterfly J says, as long as he gets his cut from the donation, he doesn't care. Wait, what?
What?
Who's that? Was that to I don't know who that was a response to. Was that a response to me? Well, I don't get it. I need some context. But you don't got to pay for more context because that'll just be robbery. But yeah, shout out to you. Shout out to C Butterfly J with the $20 PayPal. You know what I was going to do? I was going to put the PayPal and hook it up to that machine, that Stream Elements machine that basically reads out the PayPal so you guys get your same type of acknowledgement on the, like a super chat gets. But the only issue with that is that it doxes folks. It says government names, and we ain't trying to do the doxing. So that's the only reason why I haven't got the program, and I have to read it, and I don't get to put it on the screen. So shout out to everybody that hits the PayPal. Well, we're gonna find a way to actually put it up on the screen so you get your correct acknowledgement. But yeah, let's continue this.
Children, if my child was called something bad, I would take my child aside and I would tell them.
But you just said that one of the caveats.
Hang on,
you just said one of the caveats for Give, Send, Go is the protection of children. You talked about the transitioning process. You talked about abortion, which is obviously your Christian perspective on that. And I'm simply saying, why doesn't it include children being racially abused? Why is that suddenly the parents' responsibility, not yours as a platform?
No, because
where you are
campaigns that
literally
exist on Give,
you are
Send,
going to
Go.
make a. Well, look, let me just spell it out to you. The way things are going, you're going to make a millionaire out of a woman who racially abused a child. And if your caveats are for
that's
protection,
incorrect.
Well, hang on. Well, you are.
No, I'm not. Because one, we're a platform. We don't make donations to these campaigns. These are individuals that are making donations.
This person will
of their
become
own
a
volition.
millionaire
This is
because
not
of your
Give, Send-
platform.
No, it's not because of our platform. They could send checks and they could send money a million different ways.
What the hell was that?
This guy is pathetic. He's being so disingenuous. They could send checks. They can do it a million other ways, but they're not, sir. They're using Give, Send, Go. And Give, Send, Go is the hyperlink that they're sharing everywhere, and that's what's getting them the money. I don't know if the coulda, woulda, they could do something else. They should do. It doesn't fucking matter, sir. They're doing it on your platform, and they're successfully getting to almost millionaire status on your platform. Just for calling a child the N-word. They're getting enriched like it's a positive thing to call a child the N-word. It's disgusting. And your platform is a part of it, and you're trying to be unaccountable. You should just chest out, be like, this is what we do, freedom of speech, X, Y, and Z, the same way these other idiots are doing it. But you want to be disingenuous.
Your platform.
No, it's not because of our platform. They could send checks and they could send money a million different ways to individuals.
But they're using your platform.
Avenues.
And you've already said to me you carve out things because you want to protect children. I'm just curious, why is racially abusing a child not one of your carve-outs?
Well, what the campaign is fundraising for. So we have to make a distinction between what happens on Give, Send, Go and then what happens outside of Give, Send, Go. Because we can't police everything that happens outside of Give, Send, Go. All that we can police is what happens on Give, Send, Go. So the two instances that I gave were about campaigns that if they were created on Give, Send, Go, that we would, for those scenarios, we would prevent. But things that happen outside of Give, Send, Go, we can't police around. So does someone have the right to raise funds for their security, for their protection, because they've been doxxed, because of a
Because they've been doxxed. This is the epitome of unaccountability. They've been doxxed, they've been X, they've been Z, they've been X, Y, and Z. They've done egregious acts, chest out, and acted with impunity, and they're not remorseful in the slightest. And you want to bail them out. There's no, oh, I'm sorry, I did X, Y, and Z. I don't need my harm in my life to be in harm. I don't need my kids, and I need my house protected. I need X, Y, and Z. But apologize. See, admit to doing the wrongdoing, but no. You want to double down on the wrongdoing and act like everyone just has to accommodate your fuckery. Shout out to John with the $2 super chat. Hold up.
Donations. Donations. Donations.
John says, hey, stay gold. Let's make each other millionaires. Shout out to John with the $2 super chat.
I'm getting rich. Snapshot moment, because everyone has a camera in their pocket. And today, we can see the outworking of this. 3 years ago in New York City, in the middle of the city, there was an altercation between a woman and a black man over bird watching and dogs. And her name was Amy Cooper. And to this day, 3 years later, she hasn't been able to find a job. Because she made a bad mistake saying the wrong thing in a particular...
It's my turn!
You said she made a bad mistake. Sir, this was not a mistake. This was a chest-out decision to berate a 5-year-old autistic black child by calling him the N-word. Doubling down, yelling at the father, saying, yeah, I'm going to do it again. Flapping her herpes everywhere. That's what she did. And she was not remorseful. She doubled down. It wasn't a mistake. It was a decision.
3 years later, she hasn't been able to find a job. Because she made a bad mistake saying the wrong thing in a particular moment
she
where
racially
a camera was
abused
pulled
him.
out.
She racially abused him. If you racially abuse people, you are made accountable for your actions.
So for the rest of your life, the rest of your
you
life,
know what?
you're shut off from society.
If you call black people the N-word and racially abuse them, unfortunately, yes, it has consequences, probably for your professional life.
And what they're doing, chat, is they're campaigning for folks to be able to just do it. Yeah, you don't have to apologize. You don't have to make good with their community. We're above their community. So we're going to bail y'all out, and we're going to be like, it's justified. You can just do negative acts to black folks with impunity, and we're going to give you money so they can't cancel you. They can't do anything. You don't have to show them respect. That's what this comes down to. That's what this is.
And I'm not saying,
for the rest of your professional life.
We understand that there are consequences. Yeah. I understand there's consequences. What I'm saying is what you're advocating for, it seems, is that for the rest of Shiloh's life, she should be pushed into the recesses.
Stop making it the extreme. For the rest of her life. Well, if she fixes the so-called mistake, sir, which is easily fixable by apologizing and showing some sort of remorse for her actions and showing that she's not this vile, disgusting, racist human being who doesn't give a fuck about children while having 2 children. They're talking about they're going to take her kids away from her, and they should. They should.
Nigga, you gotta go.
The fuck is wrong with you?
You are teaching those young children to be racist motherfuckers from that young age. You are ingraining that in their mentality to be racist from that point. You're a single mother. You allegedly got the herpingipoli. No father in sight, negative behavior, grotesque behavior, chest out racism. Take them damn kids. Take them damn kids. Someone call CPS. Get her the fuck out of here.
Of society, and that she should not have a voice, that she should be canceled and silenced. This is what drives people to suicide. And it's this cancel culture mantra that thinks that the best way forward as a society is to cancel them rather than try to bring some redemption into the situation. And for Give, Send, Go, our purpose and our hope is not that we agree with every single campaign. It's why we started a prayer team at Give, Send, Go. We actually call every campaign owner and we pray with them and we actually talk them back from the ideological edges that they find themselves.
See, if she does, it's not genuine, but at least she's trying to ingratiate herself with the rest of society. She's trying to not be seen as a deplorable person. She's trying to integrate herself with decently behaving humans with a sense of decorum. That's what that would be. It'd be like, okay, I'm doing this. I'm not going to be so egotistical to think that I'm beyond reproach. I could be held to my shit too. That's what that would have been. Shout out to London Link with the $5 super chat.
Donations.
Yo, this point right here. Shout out to you for this point right here. London Link with the $5. London Link says, so her life can't get ruined, but is he considering the 5-year-old could be traumatized for life? That part. No one cares about the 5-year-old autistic boy that was ridiculed and called the N-word by this white lady, this racist white lady. They're thinking about, oh, her life, what her life is going to... She made a decision as a grown-ass woman, a mother of 2, made a decision to do that to another child. The kid's going to remember that forever. And the fact that it's making headlines and it's out there and there's always going to be a story to link it to and the video's out there, that kid's going to remember that. And he's going to be linked to that sequence and that moment forever. But she can do it, not be challenged. Oh, this shit's in front of my face. Y'all can't even see me. Not be challenged. No remorse. No apology. We're just going to integrate her back in society and we're going to make her a millionaire. We're going to spend our that's pathetic, man. Shout out to John with the $2 super chat. Yo, shout out to John. Yo, John's trying to compete for MVP super chat status out here. Shout out to John, man.
Donations.
John said, only thing them kids know is racism and itching. Yeah, that's all she's teaching them. She's teaching them to miss showers and be racist.
Brother,
With such a filthy woman like that, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. Damn, man. Shout out to John with the $2 super chat. Yo, John, I wanted to make you a mod again, but I have strict rules on mods now. Like mods, you have to be a member to become a mod. So think about joining the membership, John. We'll make you a mod again. We trying to mod. We can only mod the members. I think someone got away with it. I think Random University bypassed that.
I've seen him do it.
I think Random University still got his wrench and he's not a member.
Nigga, you gotta go.
The fuck is wrong with you?
Shout out to Hans Franco with the $2 super chat.
Donations.
Hans Franco says, Myrona is so rich, can't afford different hoodie. Yo, Myron be wearing the same shit every damn day. Chest out, he's like, fuck it. We stinking today. Same clothes every day of the week. Just filthy work. Shout out to Hans Franco with the $2 super chat.
By saying, you know what, there's a God that loves you. You don't need to get into this tribal space.
Facts.
You need to focus on rebuilding that relationship with him because that's the fabric for a principled and moral nation.
Here's the flaw with Shiloh Hendricks. She, in her message left on the donation side, it goes on, sentence after sentence, playing the victim. She never once mentions that she repeatedly used the N-word. It doesn't exist in her description of the victimhood statement she puts out there. So it's incredibly disingenuous because people who read that will not realise, if they don't know the story, that she racially abused a child and then an adult in a most horrific manner.
Yo, the thing that's so disgusting about these incidents is that they're trying to juxtapose the Carmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf situation with this Shiloh Hendricks comparison, or the situation. And in both situations, they're literally trying to absolve the person of the wrongdoing. They're acting like Austin Metcalf never put his hands on Carmelo Anthony, and they're acting like this lady never said the N-word and did nothing wrong, and people are just out to get her. It's like, why are y'all doing the mental gymnastics and acting like their actions that they didn't take place? It's crazy. Shout out to the Informant Media with the $5 super chat.
Donations.
The informant media says heard she throwing a retirement party and they playing the video in a loop on Friday. She also given a speech called I Showed Them Niggas. Hey, yo, what the hell? Shout out to the informant media. Shout out to the informant media with the $5 super chat.
And I'm curious for you as a company, you take, I believe, tips and donations from each of the donations that come in. Is that how the system works?
The system works on voluntary donations.
Okay.
So the only thing that we receive
just
as
out of
revenue
interest,
from
of the $600,000 plus that have now been raised for her, how much have you guys made, Give, Send, Go, from that money? Presumably you know, right?
I actually don't know. I haven't kept track of what the donations to that campaign in particular to Give, Send, Go
But do you feel
are.
comfortable? You feel comfortable making money out of that?
What I feel comfortable doing is last week flying out to Detroit, Michigan, and stepping into somebody's brokenness who had a campaign on Give, Send, Go because their car was stolen and another car was in an accident and they.
We don't care. Let me tell you, we don't care.
Yo, see this guy? What does that have to do with the campaign we're speaking about, sir? We don't care about these other miscellaneous campaigns that has nothing to do with this case. Why do folks do that? Oh, well, I really care about this person and we don't care, buddy. We're talking about this incident that you're profiting from. Are you okay with profiting from such gross activities? Let's hear it.
Found out that their 3-year-old had cancer.
Well, that's
and
a different story.
It's
a different story completely.
And it's a completely different story, but it's a reality of what we use the funds from Give, Send, Go for.
The bottom line is you're making, I don't know, tens of thousands, maybe more, out of a particular part of your site that has been set up by a racist who was proudly racist on camera repeatedly. And you say you want to protect children, but the reason that she is so infamous is she originally in that exchange.
Oh, okay. So we have some context. Shout out to C Butterfly J with the $20 PayPal. Damn. We have some context. The comment that she said before, she was talking about the Give, Send, Go guy. The Give, Send, Go guy does not give a fuck. Let me read this. As long as he gets his cut from the donations, he doesn't care. He doesn't care. And it shows. It shows. That comment was before this even landed, and that's why I was confused. And it's like, it shows now. He really doesn't care what's on the platform as long as he gets his money. All this Christian stuff that he's trying to hide behind, it's like, stop it, bruh.
Racially abused a child. And you might laugh and
Well,
smirk
you know what?
and smile,
None of
but
us.
I don't find any of that funny.
You keep jumping. Yeah, I don't think it's funny either. You've put me in a position to try to defend Shiloh, which I have no defense for Shiloh. I don't defend calling a child something like that. What is very evident is that, one, we don't have video of her doing any of those things outside of the post video. So
where she literally uses the N-word repeatedly, and she doesn't deny using it against the child. In fact, she makes it clear she did do it because he was behaving like one, she said. So I don't know why you're being so mealy-mouthed about it.
So
the bottom line is she's obviously a nasty racist. She's proud of being a racist. She admitted being a racist, and we heard her being a racist. There is no doubt about what happened. What you're trying to do is cast a little bit of doubt, if you don't mind me saying, because it helps your corporate position, which is you're making a ton of money out of a racist who is going to be a millionaire out of being a racist because of your platform.
If you think allowing this campaign helps our corporate position, come on, Piers.
You know what would help you corporately? If you were genuinely true to your mission statement as a Christian site, that you want to protect children, and you were big on that at the start of this interview.
Whoa, he was big on protecting children, but he's man, he's cap. He's not big on anything, man. This guy's just about that money.
Protect the kids, then you would remove her site immediately once you had established in your own brain that she'd racially abused a 5-year-old, which, by the way, she admits to doing, right? So you could just do that like that.
Yeah, no, we could do a lot of things, but in the country that we live in, there are certain fabric elements that make this America what it is. And
this is the thing that I hate the most. This is the thing that I hate the most. When you are not American, Piers is getting this type of deflection, this deflective treatment because he's not America. He's not American. What did I say? God damn. In America, we do things X, Y. No, the fuck you don't, motherfucker. You trying to make an excuse and you're trying to minimize Piers' point because he's not American. I hate when folks do that.
And they need to be defended. So
is free
just
speech
because
one of
people
them?
have upset feelings.
Free speech?
Free speech, freedom of expression.
Really? And yet, how odd? Because Mr.
freedom of
Wells, unless I'm
association.
mistaken, you have now removed the ability to comment and removed all the comments on this particular donation site, haven't you? Where's the free speech rights of those people who commented? Or are you just a hypocrite?
No.
Cooked. Well, cooked. I remember I referenced that point that he took down the chat for both of those campaigns because it was inciting a bunch of hateful. What the hell am I on?
Stay off the weed.
It's inciting hatred, and it's building these big hate campaigns in the comment sections, and it's fueling more. So you remove that, but you're supposed to be this free speech activist. Stop it, bruh. Stop it. This guy just got cooked. Yo, Piers is really in his bag. He is in his bag in this one. I definitely got to react to Piers interviewing Kanye and Sneeko, because I watched that, and yo, Kanye really thinks he's still relevant. It's so funny how relevant Kanye thinks he really is.
You are miserable.
It's sad. Like, you're not that guy anymore, Kanye. Like, hang it up, man. Shout out to John with the $5 super chat.
Donations.
John says, if I were him, it'd take the cut. Huh? If I were him, it'd take the cut and use it to pay for the kid to sue her with the best lawyers. I think you said, if I were him, I'd take the cut and use it to pay for the kid to sue her with the best lawyers. It's facts. That's facts. I got the. Yeah, we edited that. We did our job with that one. Shout out to John with the $5 super chat.
Donations.
This particular donation site, haven't you? Where's the free speech rights of those people who commented? Or are you just a hypocrite?
No. Well, recognize what free speech is. Free speech is a prohibition against the government enacting laws to prohibit your speech.
You literally just made a speech.
The funniest thing about this is that he literally just made his point null and void by saying this. Free speech was to go against the government. Whatever he's saying right now, free speech is not the same on private-owned companies. YouTube, for any arbitrary reason, could be like, this speech is hate speech, fuck your free speech, we're demonetizing you. We're deleting your videos. We're deleting your channel. This is a private-owned company. Free speech is for protection against the government, not against our private-owned company that employs your ass. Give, Send, Go falls under that umbrella. The free speech bullshit, you don't have to protect them.
Recognize what free speech is. Free speech is a prohibition against the government enacting laws to prohibit your speech.
You literally just made a speech talking about freedom of expression and free speech, but you have removed all the comments from here. Why are you suppressing and censoring people's right to free speech to comment on these sites?
We have, as a private business, the right to operate our business the way that we want to
have the right to
operate
suppress
our
free
business.
speech. I don't dispute it. I'm just curious why you pretend to be this great defender of free speech when you're literally doing the opposite.
Yeah, but the no abortion, right? Well, what about that, sir? You're protecting everybody, but you make the exception for that. Yo, these guys are so full of shit. It's so funny to see them get exposed in real time. Shout out to John with the $5 super chat.
Donations.
John says, my bad, at work, LT. Gonna be singing some Uncle Ruckus soon. Don't trust that high nigga over there. Hey, yo. Shout out to John with the $5. John's making sure we get paid out here today. Shout out to John. Let's get it.
No, what we saw very clearly in this situation was a campaign for Carmelo Anthony, and on the back of it, a campaign for Shiloh, and they were competing off of each other, and they were in a cycle of vitriolic tornado of sorts. And we said we need to put some calming effect on this by removing the back and forth element that's going on in this particular situation. It wouldn't necessarily have happened if these campaigns were completely independent, months, years apart from each other.
But as a Christian,
But
again,
there
look,
was
as a
something
Christian
specific
again,
that was happening right
as a Christian again, because I'm told that the Give, Send, Go site for Luigi Mangione, who we saw allegedly executing a healthcare boss in cold blood. I don't think there's much allegedly about it, but we'll let the process take its course. He's got nearly £1 million for his defence via your site, and you know, it's sort of odd, isn't it? Is it not an inconsistency in your Christian position on this? That on the one hand,
it shows your,
hang on,
it really shows your lack of understanding what Christian faith actually
Let me ask you the
stands
question. On the one hand, if you want anything pro-abortion on your site, that's a no-no because you're all pro-life, and yet on the other hand, you're helping a bunch of alleged murderers raise millions. Do you not see an inconsistency?
I've seen
with
him
your Christian
do it.
hat on?
Well, it just actually goes to the shallow misconception of Christianity that you have, and I would implore you, Piers, to go after reading the Bible for what it says. That the number one critique of
Thou shalt
Jesus
not kill
by the
is
religious
ringing
leaders,
quite loud in my head.
The number one critique of Jesus by the religious leaders of the day was that he hung around with the prostitutes, the drunkards, and the sinners. He was the guy that went to the lowliest of low places, and he actually shared hope in the midst of the worst places. We find ourselves in a very similar situation, and our goal at Give, Send, Go is to share hope to people in the midst, and part of that is navigating how we do it. We have a prayer team that calls people.
Sir, you said nothing. You said a whole bunch of nothing. You didn't address the hypocrisy at all as it relates to the abortion or the no abortion. You
praise with them actually shows them that they're valuable. We have an initiative, like I was mentioning earlier.
All right, but look, the bottom line, look, Mr. Wells,
like,
I appreciate you coming on, but the bottom line is the reality of the situation is that if you racially abuse a kid, you can become a millionaire on your site and you won't stop it happening. And if you kill somebody or allegedly kill somebody, you won't stop that happening either. But with your Christian hat on, if somebody wants to put anything up that's pro-abortion, whoa, not having that, Gov. And if you want to put a comment under one of these more contentious sites, your free speech rule immediately collapses.
Listen, I'm sorry, Piers, if you can't recognize that children don't have a voice and they should be protected.
What about the voice of this? What about the voice of this little 5-year-old?
How is he making that argument? Children don't have a voice and they should be protected, and you're enriching the person that just violated and abused a fucking child. What the fuck is wrong with this guy?
Old black kid. Where was his right not to be racially abused?
He doesn't have a campaign on Give, Send, Go. I would love to see a campaign for him on Give, Send, Go.
Okay.
He doesn't have a campaign on Give, Send.
He's a child. He doesn't have a voice. He's a child. He doesn't have a voice. How is he going to have a campaign on Give, Send, Go? He's a child. He doesn't have a voice. You're here to protect him. What the... Yo, this guy's the dumbest guy ever. What type of responses are these? Like, are you serious right now?
All right.
But to the deeper question of the other campaigns, if you think undermining the presumption of innocence until proven guilty in a court of law is a good position to take, well, so be it. That's why we find ourselves in the mess as a society that we have found ourselves in, is because people continue to undermine the principles that our country was founded upon for the sake of some type of social outrage, which apparently is what seems like you're parroting towards us.
Okay, let's just assume that the viewers can make their own minds up about who's parroting what here. But I appreciate you coming on, Mr. Wells. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Piers.
A lot of those brothers over in the Black Manosphere that agree with this, I mean, you guys gave her some encouragement to keep disrespecting the people that put her on. And you got to understand what I'm talking about, because when Pearl wanted to come onto YouTube, she didn't go through the conservative structure. She's the same thing that Fresh and Fit don't want to talk about.
This is the thing that Fresh and Fit don't want to talk about. This is exactly why I put this little clip from O'Shea Duke Jackson. Shout out to O'Shea Duke Jackson in this video, because these are the same folks that will talk the most shit, chastise, wrongly malign the black community in America, specifically, well, for Fresh and Fit, specifically in America, the black American community. They use the Kevin Samuels, they use rappers, they use all sorts of people. And then when they get to a certain level, what do? They shit on the same black Americans that they propelled them to that level. How about y'all go from ground up? Nothing, no buzz, no clout. Go to the white sector. Go do collabs over there and let's see how far y'all get. Using American blacks to get on and then shitting on them after. Trying to appease the white power structure in your mind. It makes no sense.
They wanted to get on in YouTube. They went through the blacks, the Kevin Samuels of the world, their photographers, and all. See, they went all through the blacks. Donovan Sharp, even though Donovan Sharp was tied to Anthony Johnson, but the blacks helped Fresh and Fit. Solo TV 84, the big bro, he connected them. So it was about the blacks, okay? Then once they got on, all of a sudden it's anti-black stuff. This is no different than Pearl. Pearl was trying to do hip hop, okay? Pearl was trying to get on through the community, and then Pearl went to what? Black London, okay? When Pearl went to Black London, Pearl had reached out to King Riches and the other brothers and sisters.
That's facts above Ruby's TV. Myron tried to do that, but this was after he already established himself on YouTube, got demonetized, was dusting it up on Rumble, trying to build another wave on Clubhouse. He was kissing white supremacist ass, and they were still telling him, we don't care about you, Myron. We're just using you, and then you're gone too. Like, you're still black, Myron, or you're getting the fuck out of here. That's what they were telling Myron. Myron wanted to be white so badly.
Out there, and she basically replicated what you saw in Miami out in London. Black London, shout out to them. I love them. She's nothing without those dudes. The editor was black. The manager was black. The whole crew that made Pearl Davis was all black, period. Even the Africans editing her TikTok videos. Black London and the blacks took Pearl to a YouTube millionaire on the platform. Make no mistake about it, all right? Now, Pearl then all of a sudden started getting a little bit diabolical with some of the stuff. She started getting real anarchist. Now, let's bring on the Nick Fuentes. Now, let's deal with Andrew Tate, okay? And then that is what got her ass banned, got her demonetized from YouTube. Then she was going on to these shows and started taking shots at the Jews and all of that, right? So now she's all the way on the conservative right and not making no money over there, right? The blacks was where is that. She went over to the white keeper hype, it ain't no right. Look at what she's saying now. I love black people. They are so friendly and fun. I just wish they would stop committing crimes.
So what Pearl did is Pearl got her monetization back. She went on the straight and narrow, faking the funk for months, trying to convince YouTube that she's not doing the weird pedo comments she was making about 16-year-olds being hotter than 26-year-olds. She was removing herself from that. She was staying away from racial commentary, racist statements. She was staying away from all of that just to kiss ass on YouTube and get her platform back. Looked like she was not a cancerous agent on YouTube, look like she's not a liability for YouTube sponsors. She faked the funk. She got her monetization back. And the second she got it back, what is she doing? Back online, disrespecting, talking shit about black folks. YouTube has to know. They got to look at these people and be like, yo, you're faking the funk. This is who the fuck you are. This clean slate for months bullshit. Like, no, stay demonetized. You're still the same racist bitch you always were.
I want to read it again. And this goes out to you black men out there that used to be so favorable to her. I love black people. They are so friendly and fun. I just wish they would stop committing crimes. So if this ain't racist, I don't know what is, okay? Black people,
The entire panel kept saying and kept insinuating that black people just keep committing crimes. Black people, black people, black people. It's like, nah, man. Y'all keep trying to push that propaganda out here.
We're all friendly and fun. We just wish you would stop killing and robbing for everybody, okay? We just wish that, because all you do is kill and steal. Somebody says this, so why do you sleep with so many of them then? She says, one black boyfriend and you can never live it down, okay? Another person goes, 20% are amazing. The coolest people at the parties. I'm not even gonna go on the thread. She's even agreed. 20% are amazing. They are the coolest people at the parties. Now, this is what you guys don't know. She does date black men. Now she's dating a Dominican man, but the majority of her love interests were black indeed. But this is how she feels about y'all, okay? They come into your community, make the money, then categorize you. Why you committing so much crimes? And you think this is your ally. This ain't your ally, okay? So many white folk I've noticed that can talk like this about blacks, and they will be getting their cheeks clapped by them same black men. Them same black men, one of the dudes she was messing with, that one guy, angry reactions. This dude with his Chicago, yelling all the time, getting enraged. He was a bum, allegedly, okay? She was letting him clap. You think we forgot? You moved him into your house. Dude had no money, nothing. You was letting him clizzap for the free. He went right after you and got him another white girl. I think he's a Nigerian American brother. And was out there clapping on her. Like, this is what I'm talking about. And I don't understand how dudes are supporting this. I can't get it, family. I can't get it and I don't get it. And this is what all of y'all get out there, thinking that these people like y'all. These people, and I'm talking about especially the ones that are conservative and they are white. I don't, look, I know no disrespect to them, but you think when they talking about other blacks, they just talking about a few. No, they talking about your ass too. Oh, we hate it when blacks are so violent. Okay, you thought that they didn't mean your ass either? Is that what you thought?
And that is for Myron's stupid ass on the panel. He has this racist broad agreeing with him, not knowing that he is the same N-word to her as Mark Lamont Hill. She will use him the same way the white supremacists in the clubhouse rooms were using Myron and using his points. And the second the blacks are gone and they got their job successfully done, Myron's gone too. Because Myron's not one of them. And he just never learns. It's real pathetic. It's real pathetic. And it's because Myron loves white men. He has the same type of disdain for white women. Women in general. Nigga just hates women. So he ain't on the side of white women. He's only on the side of white men. The white men that's constantly holding him from the back, kissing him. Openly gay men.
Stick together.
Pause. That's what Myron be doing on his off time. That's what Myron be doing in his off time. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to everybody that hit that super chat, that PayPal, that Cash App. Greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated. Yeah, man. The more y'all hit that like button and show support, the more streams we getting. We streaming tonight. We got that Austin Holloman stream up tonight. It'll probably be around 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock. We could probably gonna do that. 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, chat. 11:15, 11:30. We always late. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button if you haven't already. Shout out to John once again with the $2 super chat. Donations. John says they'll be singing to Myron. They ain't like us. It's facts. That's absolute facts. They'll be singing it in his fucking face after he completes the mission for them. After they use his pathetic ass to complete the mission, they'll be singing that in his face. Myron wants to be Little Spoon.
You're a victim.
Oh, shit. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Special shout out to John in the super chats. We wrapping this one up. We'll be back shortly, chat.
Survey said LT cooking your ass.
We out. Yeah.
No, you ain't.
All right, he was successful. Shout out to John with the. Jesus Christ, man! I don't even have my drops prepared anymore. Shout out to John with the $2 super chat.
Donations.
John says, "Gonna make you come back to read this." Yeah, man.
Brother,
Come on, man. Let me get to the next show. John.
It's my turn.